Again, appreciate everyone being here today. If you have any questions during this webinar, please post it to the Q&A. There's a Q&A button at the top of the screen. I'll try to address them when we get to the Q&A at the end of the program. So we're here to talk about workshops and goal impact analysis, two of the new features that are recently added to the EvaluSys platform. I was going to run through this quick overview, but I know that everyone on the call here has some background with EvaluSys, so I don't have to go into details. But what we're talking about here with workshops, of course, is part of that educate and engage part of the solution overview. And the goal impact analysis is a new aspect of the prioritize and motivate action pillar of EvaluSys. So it's right up there with value growth architecture in trying to help clients make decisions on acting on the recommendations that come out of the system. So proceeding on, let's get into workshops. So, EvaluSys has been using evaluations as a foundation for workshops for quite a while. As a consultant, I think I ran my very first business wellness workshop probably about 10 years ago. So the first thing that makes EvaluSys so great for these kind of programs is that it collects information about the needs and the challenges of the participants in the program, and it aggregates that information so you can focus your program content on those needs and challenges. So it sounds pretty simple, and it really is. So if you can determine what's important and what's relevant to your audience in advance, it really makes it much easier to produce a high impact, high value program. And the bonus is that you'll be left with individual evaluation results to engage with the participants after the program. So, if you can charge a fee for the program, like most people do, you'll make money while developing a funnel of new qualified client prospects. And that's not a bad deal, right? So workshops are great, and the diagnostics that we have in EvaluSys really help to make the programs much more relevant and engaging for the participants. So this is the workshop flow. It starts with assigning an evaluation. You aggregate the results of the evaluation after everyone's taken it. Then you can customize the workshop content around what you've learned from the results of the evaluation. So and then that leads to an opportunity for individual engagement after the program. So, EvaluSys members have been able to use this kind of capability for many years, but it required a great deal of sort of manual intervention. And you can use if you're familiar with campaign codes, you're able to create a campaign code link and send that out rather than create new clients for each person who's part of the workshop program. You still be able to do that going forward, except that you're not going to be able to do it with the goal impact analysis feature, because that's only going to be relevant to clients and not prospects. So you can't use campaign code links to be able to engage people in the evaluations if you're going to use goal impact analysis. So I'll be covering that next, because you can't really use, again, campaign code links for goal impact analysis. So let's go ahead and jump into goal impact analysis. And then again, we're going to just go through this high-level introduction, and then I'm going to switch over to a demo and get into the system and show you how it works. So goal impact analysis. So if you've used EvaluSys before, or you've used some other kind of process to discover issues or gaps in best practices, it's quite likely you've come up with dozens of improvement opportunities for most clients. I've had cases where, as a consultant, I've had really good mid-market companies with sales in excess of $100 million wind up with over 70 recommended actions after taking the entire business wellness diagnostic series. So it's one thing to identify those problem areas for a client, but if the client doesn't act to address those issues, you really haven't helped them, have we? So what I'd like to suggest is goal impact analysis is a process clients go through after completing evaluations to help them sort out from their own perspective which problems are most important to act on and which are less important. So they do this by entering a prioritized list of their top 3 to 5 goals, and I'll show you how that works, and then making a judgment as to the potential for each problem to interfere with achieving those goals. So if they judge the problem could prevent them from getting where they want to go, they'll be inclined to do something about that. And that's the key. So that's why we've got there on the slide, assessing impact motivates action. If they can determine that it's important to them to do something about the problem, then they're more likely to take action on it. So we'll show this on the demonstration as well, but I'll walk you through this here first. So the new goal manager is used to record and prioritize goals. So it's pretty much a simple list entry process here in the goals manager. You can see in the sidebar a little bit of information about SMART goals because it's important that they do create meaningful, time-bound, relevant, attainable goals. So this also provides you an opportunity to do some coaching around goals and how they've articulated goals and make sure that the goals that they're putting into the system are good ones. So moving forward, once they've got their goals input, then they can complete an evaluation process. And when you assign them into goal impact analysis and they first enter the system, they're going to be cued to create their goals if they've not established them. We're not going to allow them to get into the evaluation process until they have actually created a goal on the system. So from there, the problems will be presented on the screen along with their list of goals. We ask them to rate the degree to which the problem might impact each goal, anywhere from no impact, as you can see, to little, substantial, severe, or devastating. So doing so will actually compute a goal impact score for each problem, which will be used to prioritize action. So if you look on the dashboard that the clients will get after they start this goal impact analysis process, they'll see a summary of their top 10 goal impacts across all the evaluations they've taken up to that point. They can also see the goal impact by goal chart, which shows the degree to which problems may put those goals in jeopardy at a high level. And then the goal impact functions chart identifies the functional areas of the business where goal impacts are originating. I think it's pretty powerful information. I hope you do too. So at any time, they can click on the My Goal Impacts menu option on the sidebar and see a complete list of goal impacts across all of their evaluations, prioritized by total goal impact score. So this is where you're starting to see the ability for them to have a ranking process that they can use to determine across all of the different evaluations that have been taken, which are the problems that have the biggest impact based upon their own perception of impact to their goals, and which ones have less. And they can export that if they want to a separated values file, pull it into Excel, so that way they can share it with their team or whatever they like to do with it. So you can also produce a report from the system. You can actually produce a report on an evaluation level, or you can also produce this one, which is the impact summary report, which pretty much gives the same information that the client would see on their dashboard. You know, the summary of their goal impacts, that goal impact by goal. It would show also, if you would scroll down on that report, which I can't do here on the slide, it'll also show the other charts, and it'll get down to a list of the goal impacts, the same one that would be shown if they had clicked on the My Goal Impacts link on their sidebar. So let's go ahead and jump in to the demonstration. So this is on the advisor side. So this is the advisor dashboard. So let's start with the workshops. So everyone's going to have these options on your side menu today. So if you've not gone out there and logged in recently, you'll find workshops out there. We've got a couple that we've started. The two here, the first one is a goal impact type chart workshop, and the other one is a standard evaluation recommended actions type workshop using more traditional reporting and traditional capabilities. Now, when you create a new workshop by using this add workshop button, it's going to just ask you to create a title. It's going to ask you to determine what you want to use for a client tag. And for those that are maybe less familiar, when you're in your client list on EvaluSys, you're able to show client tags, which allow you to create relationships between clients. So if you have them in some sort of other program, like Mike has, you can use a client tag to identify everyone that's in a particular cohort of a program. That's the exact way that the workshop capabilities will aggregate all the client information for those that are assigned to the workshops. So goal impact analysis, checkbox there. You can determine whether you want to use goal impact analysis. Allow results access. You can turn off access. I know a lot of people using EvaluSys prefer to not show the results immediately when people have taken evaluations. And you can use this checkbox to determine how those workshop participants will be administered into the system, whether they can see results or not. So let's just use the ones that I've got here. Again, if you've got this non-goal impact analysis workshop, this one hasn't been activated, so I can add some additional participants and add new evaluations to the list. Because once you've activated the workshop, you're not able to add participants or add additional evaluations. So keep in mind what this workshop capability is trying to do. If you've used evaluations for EvaluSys with other programs in the past, when you set up clients for your workshops, you have to go through each client profile and change their client settings to assign evaluations whenever you are assigning them as part of the workshop program. In this way, using the new workshop management tools here, it will do it all at once. So once you've identified your participant list, if it's 5 people or if it's 50 people, and you've added your evaluations in, when you activate an evaluation, it will automatically go to each of those participants and turn on that evaluation so they can have access to be able to take that evaluation on their EvaluSys login. So adding participants is pretty easy here. In fact, this process is identical to the process that you use to add a new client on EvaluSys. It just brought it in right in here with the workshop capability. So let's say if I'm adding Larry, Melvin, put in an email address. And Untitled CEO. So if I add that participant, it will create a new client for you, and it will establish a temporary password for them that's going to be consistent across each of those workshop participants. If you prefer to assign an existing client you've already set up to the workshop, you can also do that using this button here. So I'm just going to throw in their search. You put in their name and hit the search button, and it'll pull them up. And you simply select their name, and they will be added into the list of, well, you have to select their name, I'm going to put Steve in here. So it's a shorter list. So you select their name and click add to workshop, and they'll just be added in. Now, if they've already actually created any evaluation data, that evaluation data will be available as part of the workshop process. So in theory, you could use the workshop concept and goal impact analysis for clients that have already gone through programs with you. So let's back out of this. Adding evaluations is also quite easy. Now, if you're using the goal impact analysis capability, not every one of the evaluations are configured so far ready for goal impact analysis. All of the core EvaluSys evaluations are ready for goal impact analysis, including the business wellness checkup as well. But a couple of the new evaluations, we're still configuring the additional data needed in order to be able to do goal impact analysis on the evaluation level. But that should be happening very quickly. So you just select an evaluation, hit save, and it'll get added to the list. Now, if these evaluations are licensed evaluations, when you activate an evaluation for a client by clicking this button, it's going to allocate licenses out of your license inventory for each of those participants. Exact same thing that happens when you add a new evaluation on the client settings area of the client profile. Exact same thing, it's just doing this in a group all at once to make it easier for you. Okay, let's go look at the goal impact analysis piece, and that'll give us a sort of segue into talking about the goal impact analysis process. So all the functionality works exactly the same. Again, the evaluation list is only going to show you those evaluations which you haven't yet added to the workshop that are set up for goal impact analysis. So once they've gone through the evaluations, you can click on the goal impacts and actually see their results. So this is the goal impact list for Mark Gill. And you can generate the reports here. You can do filtering by clicking on this filter list and just say, I want to only see the ones that are devastating and severe in impact, and it'll limit that list. So pretty good functionality here to be able to see information for your members. If you want to jump into the client profile, you can just click on their list and it'll jump right into the client profile. So again, you can click in here looking at their problems. So executive leadership. Here's the problems that are listed. And if we go through each of them, you'll see the goal impact score and what they had recorded in terms of impact by goal. So let's look at it from the client's perspective. So this is the goal impact analysis client, Mark Gill. So again, this is the dashboard that Mark would see when they log in after he has done the some of these evaluations. I promised to show you what the goals look like. Here, click on Manage Goals. You can see this list. You can add a goal. There's a maximum, I think, of 5 goals that you can enter into the system. I'm trying to remember, to be honest, whether we require them to have more than one goal. I don't think we require them to have more than one goal. But obviously, we suggest that they have more because it's certainly more powerful if they do. So looking at the process of going through goal impact analysis, there's 2 ways that they can go through it. You can see here on the sidebar here, you can analyze it by goal or you can analyze it by problem. It's just one is turned 90 degrees from the other. So sort of the default is if they come into this, when they complete their evaluation, they're going to be brought to this screen. And if they click onto this, it's going to be showing the goal impact by problem structure. So you're going to see a problem at the top, and you're going to see their goal list, and you're going to ask them to say, the company does not equip sales team with current effective sales collateral. So how would that impact their ability to achieve enterprise value of 30 million by December 2024? How will it impact their ability to reduce employee turnover by less than 5%? So this is going to be their own perception of how those issues would impact those goals. We go back to this screen and analyze by goal. It's much the same process, but you're going to have their goal number one, and then you're going to have all the problems in this evaluation, and you can attack them at one time. My head seems to work better in using the goal impact by goal approach, but some people might like it either way. Again, you could direct them to choose whether to analyze by goal or analyze by problem. It's still going to get them to the same complete list of goal impacts, and the goal impact scores are going to be calculated for each of them. So if we look at the total my goal impacts on the side, it'll give them their report across all of their evaluations. So this is going to allow them to see this one is impact with a score of 50 for human resources. Next one is an innovation one, and it's all based upon that person's perception of how that issue could interfere with their goals as they are articulated in the system. So again, the whole idea here with goal impact analysis is to get them to think carefully about how the problems that are coming up through the system could impact their business, impact their ability to achieve key goals.